Lattimore Peace, host and producer of OmniU Presents the H3O Art of Life show. I'm a little bit unsettled because that music comes from the Seven Principle album, which was created by Kwame, Steve Cobb, and the vocalist is his wife, Shabanduka. That particular track is called Kuumba, and the name of this show is Kuumba. So I want to first of all acknowledge him as a composer not only of the Seven Principle album, the Kuumba track that was just played, but all of the rest of the songs, including the theme song I have been using for 25 years on the H3O show without paying any royalties because Kwame Steve Cobb is my son in a spiritual sense. I always say I raised that boy because he was my student as a youngster in elementary school. And I'm very pleased with what he has grown up to be and represent. And I'm greeting you now. Hello, son. Hotep.
Thank you, Mama. Shem Hotep.
All right. And then I have to acknowledge Kwabena Rasul, who is a very wonderful young man who has been in the struggle ever since I met him. I met him doing the kinds of things that he does now to raise the level of social consciousness. And he's now with the Clear the Airways project, and he's involved in many other movements that are designed to uplift our people. And I want to greet you, Kwabena.
Hotep, Dr. Peace. Definitely great to be here with you.
And last but not least, please don't think that I think less of you than my other sons, because now you're part of the family too. This is Phenom of Poetree.
Yes.
And he's an international artist and a hip hop mentor and founder, Chicago founder of MC School. And I greet you. I'm very happy that you're here. Now, I just want to say one thing, and then I don't have much more to say because you know all the things that I want the viewers to learn today. I've read a quote which was almost identical to the first line in Kuumba, that creativity is a gift from God, a gift that God gives to us. When we use it in a godly manner, we give the gift back to God. And in that vein, I would like to frame our conversation today. So I will start with the composer of the Seven Principles album, and then we will just come in as we feel moved to contribute. All right, go ahead, Kwame.
Well, I guess I'd like to begin by saying that music is one of the most powerful conduits for transmitting concepts and ideals. And when it is accompanied by life-saving and life-sustaining images, it truly has the power to transform behavior. Now, as we frame the conversation, that sounds like that would be a very positive thing for us. Unfortunately, under the circumstances that we currently exist, the conditions that we exist here, that very concept is being turned against us. And I recall a couple of weeks ago, we were at our physician's place, taking care of our health, and we had a conversation about a certain musician coming back to Chicago and attempting to do positive work. But at the same time, there were aspects of his modus operandi that we're questioning, you know. And over the last, well, I've been knowing Kwabena, I'll say for really 20 years, 25, actually longer than that, because you see, if you've been using the theme song for 25 years, that's incredible.
I may not have been using it the entire time. I've had the show for 25 years, And as soon as I had a theme song, that was what it's been.
Yes. Well,
So for however long,
yeah.
that
It's been a
was
long time, no question.
It's been a long time.
No question. And so, you know, Kwabena and I have been interfacing on a number of different things for a long time. I met Kwabena through Baba Kwesi Ronald Harris, who is our ancestor now. Give me a second. Every time I mention him, this kind of happens to me. But
I know.
But
I feel that.
But once we got to know each other, we've been support for each other ever since. And so he pointed out to me the nature of the music that was going on radio. And me being, I guess, approaching elderhood and having sons and daughters in their 40s, the music that is going on the radio right now, I don't listen to it, you know. And when I have attempted to monitor it, I didn't really understand what I was hearing. Now, my sons and daughters began to listen to hip hop years, really 20, 30 years ago. And at that time, I couldn't really keep up. But they did have artists who stimulated their political and social consciousness, like the X-Clan and KRS-One and Public Enemy, just to name a few. And so what I did come to understand about it, I thought was good, you know. But unfortunately, anytime we come up with something that is good for us, and we could go into history as to why we got to hip hop in the first place, but that's another show, you know. That the music began to change because they saw some positive things occurring in our community as a result of the music. And as I said, the music is a very powerful conduit for transmitting concepts and ideas. It was altering the thinking. And when the thinking is altered, then the trajectory changes, and the possibility of where we might be able to go would be different from where others outside of our community might want us to go. So Kwabena made me aware of this, and we began to, I began to support him. He's been very, very passionate and very committed to clearing the airwaves of this, what he calls ratchet and toxic music. Just a couple of weeks ago, September 29th, as a matter of fact, we put together a mini conference, you know, after meeting with Hakeem Adabuti. He made the Ipe on Betty Shabal's facility available to us. And Kwabena is also part of the National Black Leadership Alliance, and Bob Law, who is a radio personality who broadcasts nationally, has been supportive and very instrumental in the work of trying to clear the airwaves. And so he agreed to come in to Chicago, because he operates out of New York, is that correct?
Yes.
He agreed to fly into Chicago and be with us during this mini conference. And we had Maggie Brown with us, we had TJ Crawford with us, we had Dr. Obari Cartman with us. There's a couple other people who I personally weren't familiar with, but made very significant contributions to raising the consciousness about this music. I want to say, because I am approaching elderhood, that this whole thing was under my radar. I wasn't even aware it was going on until Kwabena pointed it out to me. We've had in every generation a similar type of attack on us via media. I remember back in the day when I was younger, in my 20s, there was the first place I saw this thing kind of slide, because we basically had love songs and you know, party songs and like that, and then there was this guy named Leon Haywood who had a song called "I Want to Do Something Freaky to You," right? And then everything was freaky this, freaky that, freaky that. I played with Roy Ayers for a little while, and he had a song called "Freaky Deaky," you know. So I mean, and other songs that were kind of very, very suggestive. And I thought, we're on our way someplace I don't think we ought to go. And so here we are today. And so I'd like to, let me say this too about Phenom. one of the most powerful and profound cultural workers in our community. He's been committed to doing work directly with our children every day. Met him through an organization of young people they put together, he and a sister named K Love, called Lyric Squad. And they literally took young people who were traumatized and going through changes and taught them how to put their stories into lyrics and present them as a group. I have profound respect for him. So I'm gonna chill.
All right. Now, since you put the ball back in my court, I just want to say two things. And then because you were talking about Kwabena first, I'm going to go to Kwabena. But two things I want to say. One is that Amiri Baraka wrote a book called Blues People, in which his thesis was, you can trace the development of black people through their music. And that is what he did in this book. And he showed our decline. He showed the trajectory down through the ages, from the music that we played as African people to the music that we began to create when we lived on the plantations as captives. So that our history is in our music. We can tell where we are at any point in time by looking at what we are producing musically. The other thing I want to ask, because this might get a lot of response. What is music? Can you really call toxic lyrics music? What is the function of music? What is the purpose of music? If creativity is God-given, a gift given to us, and our use of it is our gift back to God, are we mocking God? Are we offering God garbage? What is this hip-hop hemlock that our children are having heavy doses of through the airwaves? Now, I've lost sleep trying to think of what to call this phenomenon that they are calling music, because it is not. It is noise. It is junk. It is toxic. It does not serve the purpose. Music lifts a people, validates a people. It does not I don't have words. It does not decimate a people, chop them into little pieces, and then give the little pieces, the fragments of humanity, names like bitches and hoes. So this phenomena that we are allowing to be called music does not belong in the category. And I know that there are meanings for which there are no words. And this is one of them. This is something that we have not named. We have not given a proper name to this phenomena that gets awards for being some category of music, because it is aberrant social behavior under the it's impersonating music. Somebody help me with this, because this is a struggle. Just that, you can't just call yourself something because you want to, So what is music, and where are we as a people, and what must we do to be where we were, because we certainly are not. what our ancestors were. You may be becoming an elder, but before you become an ancestor, you need to be worthy to join their ranks. And right now, we've got work to do, and I want to talk to you about that work because you're doing it.
Music is culture. You know, culture is a people's way of life.
Yes.
How we deal with our unborn to how we bury our dead and everything in between. And this, what, like you said, what's being masqueraded as music today is
Masquerade.
It's just totally out of control. It's ridiculous. It's an embarrassment. And like Brother Kwame said, it's being used right now as a weapon against us.
Exactly. An instrument of social control.
On my way here to the studio, I tuned into a European-owned radio station that programs black children with music this afternoon. First song I heard when I turned the radio on was about these girls who want the bag. I want a new crib that I can F in, a new car that I can S in. And I hope y'all know what F and S means. The next song, the rapper was talking about putting the D in a rib cage. The next song, he was gonna run up on you in the shotty, aiming at your head. The next song, Cardi was putting the P on Offset and putting the brain on Offset. And what part of the body is the brain in? And so this is what it is every day, back to back, and it gets worse at night, 24/7 on these radio stations that target our children, specifically target our children. Like we all know, the adults, it's tough for us to listen to it because it sounds so horrible. You know, we just keeping it real here, it sounds so horrible. Dealing with this issue because I've been in the music so long, and all of us, so many of us love music. It's just beautiful music. And so, you know, thinking about the music when I was coming up as a child, and the artists and the love songs and the beautiful music, when I met Brother Kwame, after a while I'm looking through some albums I had, and I see a Ramsey Lewis album, I believe, and he's on the back of the album,
Right.
playing with Ramsey Lewis. I'm like, wow. But this is the type of music, Sun God, as a child, I would hear some jazz. I would hear slow jams. I would hear funk, all of it. Then rap came through, and, you know, started dealing with the rap. But when we present and deal with this music, we ask the children to name us 5 slow jams in the last 2 years that have been popular, and they can't do it. I don't care where we go around the country, they cannot do it. But they love the slow music, because actually they start coming up with slow songs, old school slow songs. Or they may mention Adele or Sharon or some European artists that get play and get rewarded for making slow music. It's not that our people don't make good music. It's not that we don't have hip hop artists that make quality, conscious music. You know, as example right here on this platform with us, Brother Phenom. There are artists out there who are still making great music. Lupe Fiasco has a new album out, and it's getting no play on these radio stations in Chicago. No play. Wise Intelligent, new album out, getting no play. You know, people get on us sometimes, say we calling for censorship. Well, they're the ones who censor these radio stations. If it's not talking about killing, if it's not dropping an N-bomb on you, if it's not calling your women a B or H, if it's not talking about slinging drugs, they censor it. They don't play it. And so one of the things that's kind of tough to deal with, a couple things, and I don't know which one's the worst, is like, how can the music be so horrible? And how come we haven't stopped it yet?
And why are we calling it music? Why do we still allow it to masquerade? You gave me that.
I think that we don't control the narrative. And definitions are very important. And we don't control the definitions. We don't control the industry. We don't control our creativity in the sense of what it is that's being pushed out to us. The artists that are positive and that are doing good work that would uplift our community don't have great access to the most common platforms.
Okay, Kwame, we get through excusing ourselves or explaining to ourselves why we are allowing our children to be corrupted. We must remember that these children are born into our families, into our households. They are with us for 4 or 5 years before they are exposed to the classroom and other public places where other influences begin to impress them and alter them. What is the work that we need to do in early childhood so that our children will begin to be inclined, train up a child in the way he should go, so that they will be inclined to reject things that are offensive and to know that they are being offended. That's one of the hardest things for our people to understand, and I understand why. I do understand what the slave experience, or the experience of captivity, did to our people. I do understand what seasoning did to our people. So I do know that we are crippled, we are maimed, and we are in so many ways handicapped. But the moment you can say what is being done to you, see, it's one thing when you don't know. Like some people are not offended because they don't know they should be offended. But when you know that you are being offended, when you know that the children are being socially oppressed, as Eugene Perkins' book, Home is a Dirty Street, the subtitle, The Social Oppression of Black Children, the minute we can say that, then that means that that's a call to arms. There's something that we should be doing, not, after we get through explaining why we haven't been doing it. Now that we know, then there's something that we have to be doing. And we have to be doing it at home.
Well, I agree with you. You have some homes that have fully embraced the responsibility of raising, training, teaching their own children. Been recently interfaced with Indigo Homeschool group, and this is a number, and I understand it's a national movement, where these young people, young parents realize that they cannot depend on those who consider them as their enemy to educate their children. That's of insanity, and most of us recognize that, many of us recognize that, but don't find many alternatives because we don't control our time for the most part. If you want to survive, you're going to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you're going to get to work by 9, you're going to work until 5, and your children have to have some place to be cared for. So a lot of times the schools really facilitate child care. Whether they're educated or not, we could debate that too. And we don't really believe that that's the best education we possibly could get, but it is in many cases all that we have access to. So I realize that we're in a very challenging situation. We don't have a great deal of control, but again, those who are aware, I see people addressing it. And this is the thing that I've talked with certain people about, who some of my mentors, that we're going through cycles. We're going through a cycle, and we're at basically like post-Reconstruction now, so to speak. We've been through these changes before, and we have to study the history to see how our people responded to them. And we have, when we didn't have access to public parks or accommodations, we bought land and created our own parks. When we don't have public access to public education, we create our own schools. So we're in a situation where the reason why we're victimized the way that we are is because those outside our community can, and they can because we're not organized, and then we're in a capitalist society, so every moment is attached to money making, and so I kind of want to
throw up both hands.
let-
Because see, we don't control nothing. We don't control the airways. We don't control our time. We don't control nothing. So let's just, why don't we
No,
just
no, everybody's not in
hold
that.
hands?
Everybody's not in that situation. Some of us actually have created a way of being that gives us the ability to move and do work, and our commitment to do the work is not attached to a dollar. Our commitment to do the work is attached to the positive outcomes that our people need. There's a segment of our community that is totally committed to that. That's why I like for Phenom to.
I'm about to go to him. I got to say this. Dr. Burroughs has a saying that goes something like this: I am one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. What I can do, I will do, because I must do what I can do. So that's where we are.
Yes.
You only one, but you are one. And you can't do everything, but you can do something. You know, and I don't want to go out of Africa and go to India, but if you go, say, to a Mother Teresa, you know, among a sea of lepers, she can't attend the multitudes, but she can do what she can do. So the whole thing is, Kwabena, you do what you can do. You raise the level of consciousness, Phenom, so that people are aware that we are being assaulted, that there are musical wars being waged against us, you know, and that we are in the choir singing the lyrics.
And dancing to them.
Singing, dancing, popping our fingers, you know.
There's a shoot dance they got out right now. It's a dance about, the song is called Shoot. They say shoot 48 times in the song. I'm gonna shoot you in your head and then tell everybody you killed yourself. Shot below the waist, now you can't feel yourself. And we dance to it. You see it at everywhere you go, at WNBA games and track meets, in the streets. You see it at the Black Chicago Food Fest. The children are on stage doing the shoot dance when you got Africans committing fratricide throughout this country, and we're dancing to this madness.
I was at an exercise class and I heard the music of a pedophile. We were exercising to the music of someone who is a serial abuser of women and particularly teenage girls. So I mentioned that to the male teacher, and the male teacher's response was, he is innocent until proven guilty. So here we have what? A male who does not understand that an elder female is offended. A male who does not respect the feelings of an elder female enough to say, well, we'll just play something else because there are other choices. But here is a male who is defending someone who allegedly is innocent until proven guilty, someone who at 27 years old married a 15-year-old girl, you know, whose wife went on national television and corroborated the stories of the other women and young girls who accused this person of having abused them, but still he is innocent until proven guilty. So my only choice in that situation was to leave, because I'm not dancing, moving to music that offends me, and I don't think that it was understood by anybody else that they had been offended, that they were in fact being offended, and that the teacher, in the teacher's ignorance, did not recognize that what the music he was choosing was not only a bad choice, but it was offensive because of the vehicle through which the music came. So you have that kind of situation where we are oblivious, we have been disrespected so long that we don't recognize disrespect. You know, that we get called out of our names all day long, and we don't recognize that all these names are N-words, that minority is the worst one of all. And then lower socioeconomic and culturally disadvantaged and culturally deprived and underclass, and all these names that can be said on television and in public places are all words that dehumanize us and nickname us and call us out of our names. And we are trying to get minority grants because we will accept being labeled in this way. I don't have any ancestors that are minorities. I don't have any ancestors who were named nigger. As far as I can tell, I don't have a single African ancestor that ever named a child of theirs with that word. So where are we getting these things from? We're getting these things from the airwaves that you are trying to clean up and clear. The likelihood that you will clear airwaves is so remote as to be almost, well, let's say it's a tough row to hoe, as the old folks would say. Mm-hmm. That is no reason not to do it, not to attempt it. Because something is difficult, there's no reason not to try it. I want to know what Phenom is thinking, because he's smiling.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this conversation. I'm enjoying it thoroughly. I love it. I love everything that y'all talking about. I love the fact that you're his elementary school teacher. That's cool. That's just so amazing to me. And that he turned out to be this, and he's been such a great mentor to us, and just a buoy in the ocean of this madness for us trying to fly over this ocean, and he's been great. So to hear you is awesome.
I'm wondering if you are rapping right now or you're just talking regular.
No, that's regular. That's regular.
See, because I understand you're an artist, so do you just do it in your regular conversation?
Yeah, you know what? That's how I came. I came like that. My mother says that I speak like that, but life is colorful to me, and I can't not say how I see it, or I wouldn't really be here. Right? So, yes.
Well, how long have you been you?
For about 41 years. I'm 41.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do you think are the influences that helped you to become this me that sits right here?
Well, everything, and I've had some great mentors along the way to really show me what things were influencing me at certain times. So I have a very holistic account on the life water that I'm in, everything that influenced me. So my long list includes Cabrini Green projects, and
Marion Stamps was over there.
it was around the time when Mayor Jane Byrne moved into the projects for a day or a week or something
Right,
like
and
that.
gave you all some ham.
Yeah. That was that was wild. But I was so young, I didn't really understood what was going on. But when I got older, I researched it and really had a different perspective of what was happening. But just Cabrini Green by itself, it was a place of violence and turmoil and poverty, but it was the best place in the world for me. It was, all of my family was there. It was the holidays and the cookouts, when you were poor, the neighbors who you could go to get the things that you need, the lessons that you'd get from Miss Johnson down the street. We had a candy store in the building, so when the store closed on the street, we could just go down to so-and-so's house, and it was an ecosystem. It was a way to live. It was
Just
different
sent shivers
churches.
down my
It was.
spine.
I was so happy to be there. I didn't even know that there was another world until I was normalized by the things that the adults were dealing with, and different people who weren't in control of their demons, and I was able to be awakened to these things before these things kind of came my way. So I have a different perspective on a lot of things.
Some of your mentors include?
Some of my mentors include the gangster disciples and certain leaders. Pastor Jeremiah Wright, Reverend Jeremiah Wright, Pastor Phil Jackson, Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., Enoch Muhammad of the Nation of Islam, Michelle Obama, Claude Alex Jacob, Deborah Wesley Freeman from the Sinai Community Institute, my children, the visual of whoever the ancestors were that went into that restaurant for the sit-in and got hit in the face with that, whatever they got hit in the face with, that influenced me, that just replays in my mind often. I am the result of that, and I know it. I'm why they sat in, so that I could do the things that I'm doing, and I hold it, and I don't share it a lot because it could be stolen because they don't want it to shine. So
what are the things you're doing?
The things I'm doing is, I thought I was doing some stuff. I thought I had a lot of stuff. I had a list of things, but I'm really living a better life. That's the sum of what I'm doing. But just coming up with different programs and solutions of how to fix my current environment. It's all about me. Yes, I'm trying to fix the world for me, so that I could live. And part of me living is you being great. So my selfishness is about creating a better ecosystem for all of us, because I need you to feel good for us to feel good. So different programs, different open mics, different social development platforms for youth, just countless different things. I'm involved in so much to learn, but also to come up with my own thing to help my current environment. So the current thing that I'm doing is MC School, teaching artists who want to be artists, or rappers. Everybody want to be a rapper these days, but the rapper is the elevated version. The MC is the elevated version of the rapper. And so I want to expose this to the younger version, or the younger youth who's looking to be artists. Before this, it was lyric. Let your rhymes inspire creativity. And it was a platform that we created for youth to have a family where they didn't have a family. These are homeless youth. Some are homeless. Some are A students, and we kind of put them all in a pot together, and they just bouillon cubed and just became each other's seasoning. And we took that group all across the United States so that others could see how this worked. This is working, and we don't have an agenda. We don't have, we're not financed, or what do you call it? We don't have a grant. We don't have a business plan. We don't have a board. We don't have none of this, but it's working. And they call it anecdotal, but it was working. This is fact, and I know it. I see it. And one of the examples I can give real quick is one of our students didn't get to graduate, didn't get to walk across the stage, and that's pretty empowering for a young person. It was removed from him from the principal because he was late often. When we came to the school, we kind of investigated that. What was actually happening was his mother has mild schizophrenia and was calling the police on him in the middle of the night, and he got tired of that and would run away every time she called the police and sleep on the train. He'd go to school from the train and is late. Nobody's questioning him about his home life or anything, and he's failing. He's starving, he hasn't washed himself, it's so many different things. He comes home and the only thing that he loves is his music, or sounds is the word I think we could use across the board, his music. And she threw it away because she didn't understand what it was, but that was him. And so he's trying to talk to her, and she's coming back at him, and there's no platform for him to just release and let mama know, I love you, but what you're doing. When we brought him to the open mic and trained him of how to really release this instead of a rapper way, in an MC way, in a poet's way. Let's expose him to Amiri Baraka. Let's expose him to Maya Angelou and so many different artists, Maggie Brown. Let's expose him to different people of Chicago and throughout history who were able to express themselves without calling each other bitches or niggas or whatever. And so they learned it. And the instance happened where his mother was invited to the open mic, and he was able to do that piece about how I love you, mama, but we go through so much, but I love you, mama. And she cried, and that platform was provided for them to get over a wall that really hurt him in the past. And there's so many other stories that I have of that. And
I love that story.
It's so many that just, so that's part of living. I want to create a bunch of those so that I could sustain. And then wherever I go, I could share whatever I learned or whatever. I'm not trying, because I know people don't want to, don't know how to, or don't seek to change their own environment. So what keeps me peaceful is creating a positive environment for self.
Well, now I got 4 more minutes, and I want you to do what you can do.
Okay, all right. Okay, so real quick, a system is like a wood chopper, and I like to use that example. When you turn it on, it's going to work. It's going to chop stuff. So if you put a piece of plastic in there, it's going to try to chop that because it's a system. If you put a baby in there, it's going to chop it because it is a system. We are in a system that is devaluing us. And the system is called lockdown, and that's the piece that I wrote. Okay. It's a system all around us, no hiding they found us, trying to get us all on lockdown. Up and then they down us, with drama they drown us, trying to get us all on lockdown. Like a car and pound us, government clown us, trying to get us all on lockdown. But now it's time to fire back, only if you tired of that. This beginning battle rap is lockdown. To the system, I'm a commodity, working my life away, I think I need a lobotomy. Slave us without change, that's reversing psychology. Spending rent money, I'm praying I hit this lottery. But do I hit the lottery or lose that part of me that used to believe this harm is more than bodily? Lies steady televised, fake worlds telescribed, knowing it's a God in us, but we living otherwise. Radio got bullet talk, TV screen, murder scenes, 48 hours was on my block. And I heard her scream, Shawty say, what Shawty say? 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 Shorty say, song ain't a song without dope dealing, smoke killing, pop, hole filling, poke stealing, body drop, non-stop, big guap, whip pop, candy coated flip flop, murder clan tip top, ball all around the clock, cheese in a stash box. Wrong, Shawty, that's part of the trap, that's how they got us locked. Said it's a system all around us, no hiding they found us, trying to get us all on lockdown. Are we gonna die broke? Probably. I've seen so many folks work and die with neondology. In debt if you a dropout, in debt if you're scholarly.
People disappearing, I'm watching this Harry Pottery. Boss man, overworkers give us just enough to eat. Do so much overtime, we don't see our family. Veggies grown in the lab for us. Wendy's cooking fast for us, can't even add. The calculator do the math for us. Cameras in every corner, on stars in our car. Turn it on, turn it off, lock us down from afar. Mama say what mama say. 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 Mama say, boy, we getting by on this SSI. Daddy gone, the kids hungry, yeah, we off this welfare high. Now we shop, tip top, silly wop, soda pop, peach schnapps, brand name, kicks, jeans, fresh top. Forget all about my problems, forget all about that block. Wrong, mama, that's part of the trap, that's how they keep us locked.
Man. Wow.
Okay, what
Yeah, well, you know.
what I supposed to do now?
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna point something out though, because before we get out of time, because you mentioned earlier about this struggle and how tough it is for us to get these airways cleared. Rush Limbaugh on his radio show disrespected Sandra Fluke for like 3 days. He lost 14 sponsors right away. We have a Respect Us campaign where we're calling for economic sanctions on many of these sponsors of these radio stations that push that poison music on our people. And so we're saying Subway, McDonald's, Adidas, JCPenney's, and Kohl's. Pull your commercials from these stations, or Black Friday, economic sanctions on you. We're starting it already. And so clear away from all that crap so we can hear music and songs like this. If we're gonna play hip hop, if we're gonna play rap, stuff that's gonna wake us up, uplift us, talk about our struggles and how we, deal with our struggles and not glorifying them, telling us to shoot and kill each other. So that's where we're at. It's the Respect Us campaign. It's with the National Congress of Black Women with Dr. Ife Williams and also Bob Law and the National Black Leadership Alliance and the Clear the Airways Project. We can, we will, we must put an end to this crap. We have to. We have to. And there's plenty of rap, hip hop that's out there that's conscious, that's uplifting the people. Plenty of R&B music, plenty of jazz, plenty of all sorts of music that our children should be listening to and exposed to, that they would love.
I'll say.
And I mean, it's doable because the when tobacco, when big tobacco targeted our youth using hip hop, right? You had the elder hip hoppers come together. You had this whole music community come together, and youth organized nationally, involving the attorney generals of several states, who brought a collective lawsuit against Brown and Williamson and tobacco, and shut that down. So you don't have billboards in the communities. They can't do smoke on television. You know what I'm saying? We fought for indoor clean air ordinance and got that. Mm-hmm. Now people have to go outside and smoke. So it is doable. It is doable.
We can win. We have to. We have to.
We don't have a choice.
Yes.
Yes, we must do it.
Well, I have certainly enjoyed you all.
Thank you.
And I just didn't know what I was in store for with you, Phenom. But I think that we're on the right track. We're not excusing ourselves. We'll explain why we have not done all that we could do, but we will no longer hide behind explanations and excuses. But what you can do, you should do. And what you can do, you must do. And I thank you, Kwabena, and I thank you, Kwame, and I thank you, Phenom.
Thank you.
And
Thank
you
you,
are
Mama.
nice. You are nice young men, even though you're trying to join the elder state. And I appreciate you for all that you do and all that you are and all that you will become.